We're sitting here at the Leather Club at APLF 2015, and I'm with Martin Mengele, who's the Senior Director of Material Sourcing Footwear at Adidas. Thank you for your time for this brief interview, Martin. Just some basic questions about how you go about sourcing leather for your product line at Adidas. What's the first step?
Well, the first step for us, I would say, comes into the qualification of the tanneries that we're going to work with. So before we start developing leathers or seeking out leathers, we have a set of basic requirements for our tanneries to comply with related to the leather working group, related to sustainability requirements, related to social and environmental affairs. So that's really the first step for us, is to qualify the tannery as a supplier for Adidas. And then we go into a seasonal development process where the tanneries usually come to our headquarters, work with our designers, show them their line. Maybe there's some back and forth input into what the designers are looking for. And that process covers the vast majority of our line and our leather developments. We also have part of our leathers that will be sourced from through the fairs, through an event like APLF or Linea Pelle, where our designers might go and see some more specialty, unique leathers from different tanners that might not be currently part of our portfolio, and then we might have to see about bringing them in as a supplier for us as well.
Yes, you mentioned when you, let's say, pre-qualified tanneries, you mentioned the leather working group. Is it a prerequisite for you to use a tannery that has obtained a certain standard within the leather working group classification or not?
It's our goal that all of our tanneries should be part of the leather working group program, and we try to ensure a minimum of a silver rating, but push for a gold as much as possible. And we've been quite successful in seeing the vast majority of our tanneries achieving very high audit results in the...
Yeah, because the leather working group's done a lot, has really been active in the last 4 to 5 years especially.
Yeah, we were a founding member and have been part of the program for a number of years, and very pleased with the results that's delivered.
Going back a little bit further before you actually choose the leather, is there a case to say that Adidas products, whether it be, let's say, running shoes or leisure shoes or football boots, if you can use that phrase, are these designer driven in the sense that the designer will recommend the sort of material you need to use, or do you have a limit because you've got X number of pre-qualified tanneries?
I'm not sure I follow.
If for example a designer designs a new running shoe, for example, will they recommend the sort of leather you should use in the shoe, or does someone else decide that?
It depends a lot on the application. When we're dealing with performance products, there's more requirements that go into it. If it's a lifestyle product, then we're usually a little more flexible to follow the direction from the designer to give them the look that they're after. But it's always a collaborative effort between a designer looking for a specific appearance to the product, with product development experts who then support them to ensure that the function is met. And then that's also, there's a collaboration with the shoe factories to ensure that whatever they've designed in is manufacturable.
Yeah, okay. As you know, in the last, I guess since 2009, leather prices have been surging ahead.
Really? I didn't notice.
No, really? Yeah, they peaked about last September, I understand.
Yeah, you said 2009. I had a lot more hair before that happened. No. Has this consistent rise in leather price from about $30 up to over $100 now, has that
caused you to specify less leather in your products? Have you been favouring, let's say, more synthetics, on the basis that they're more performance oriented, or?
We have definitely seen an impact from the high prices of leather into a reduction in the volume of leather we use. There's been a shift from full grains into splits, and there's also been an overall reduction in the quantity of leather that we're using as a group. So we do see that. I mean, most of that has shifted into textiles and into some synthetic materials.
On the question of sustainability, in terms of the production process and the materials you use, were you under a lot of pressure after the Greenpeace destroying the Amazon video to actually look more carefully at that, because it did cause, for the want of a better word, quite a hoo-ha when it came out, if you recall.
We've always had a very active focus on the sustainability of our products, but we did take a more in-depth look at the origin of the raw materials that we're using following the Greenpeace report, and I think we're very pleased with the efforts that have come into traceability of the raw material in Brazil since then. And believe that it's been a strong industry-wide effort to drive the traceability of raw material and improve that area.
Yeah, do you actively use traceability when you're sourced from Brazil, for example? You anticipate my next question. In fact, do you actually use the traceability programs available? Some so the larger tanneries are obviously using this.
Yeah, we know that traceability is part of the leather working group rating, and so we monitor it through that avenue, and we rely on. I mean, the material that we source from Brazil origin is limited to a few large players where we know we have confidence in working with them that they're also ensuring that the raw material that they source is not coming from the Amazon region.
Moving away from, let's say, production towards the end consumer now. When the end consumer goes to buy an Adidas product, have you done any surveys, for example, to know if the consumer is demanding a sustainable product from your production line? Is there more awareness about sustainability now, or do you believe, as leather naturally says, that we need to educate the consumer more?
We believe that the consumers are much more aware now, the younger generation, and we look at our target consumer being in the 14 to 19-year-old age range.
The millennium.
So we're definitely looking at younger consumers who are certainly much more aware of it. But what we see from them is that they don't look towards sustainability as something that we should tell them as a special feature. It's a basic expectation. They're assuming that as a good corporate citizen, we are taking care of efforts in that area, and so for us it should be a basic part of what we do and a core part of our product, and not something that we try to sell as a special feature.
Yeah. It's a real advance if there's that awareness in the target group you're talking about. It really is. One final question. Mike asked this question. How do you see things in the next few years? Are we all going to lose more hair, or?
Well, I think what we said before is that there's going to be two key issues that we will continue to work with in the coming years, and certainly challenges with raw material I don't expect to go away. We're in a period where a lot of the challenges that we face with raw material are driven by natural factors of droughts and that is likely to continue in the coming years. So I think raw material continues to be a challenge. And then the requirements that we're going to be, putting onto the tanneries, in particular in chemical management and effluent management and their disclosure of those factors in their production, are going to accelerate. So there's going to be more activity with the tanneries, working with them on how they manage their chemical usage, and potentially on working with them to phase out certain hazardous chemicals that are used in the production process, as well as the disclosure of their effluent content and more open discussion about what is being put into the environment out of the tanneries. So we'll see that becoming...
Yeah, do you actively make any recommendations to chemical suppliers or not?
Currently we don't, we don't qualify chemicals that go into the tanning process. Our current focus has always been on the restricted substance management and testing the finished product. Yeah. We are seeing that shifting more into input control and input management, okay. And so whether that takes the form of telling the tanneries what chemicals are okay to use, I don't think we'll get there necessarily with leather specifically. In textiles, we work with BlueSign, and we use their Blue Finder tool to qualify chemicals that can be used in the dyeing process. With leather tanning, there's no industry kind of accepted norm for that right now. So I think we're more looking at if there are specific chemicals that we need to eliminate, then we work on the elimination of those rather than actually as a brand trying to qualify what inputs the tanneries should use.
Okay, well that's great, Martin. Thanks for your time and interesting interview from my point of view.
Thank you, it's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.